Everyone, it's Desiree, and I'm here for Spellbinders to showcase their November card kit of the month. This one is actually called Dear Santa, and you can see they've kind of changed their packaging. So it's really bright with some pale blue and some white. So let's dig into those contents. So of course you get your double-sided tape in every box. You also get your pamphlet. So this gives you some inspiration. This shows you what's going to be in your kit for the month. You also get a full paper pad. Now again, this is paper. This is not a heavyweight cardstock, but this paper is, as you can see, holiday themed. So it is lighter. It's probably, I'm going to say, around a 65-pound weight, I believe. Maybe a little lighter. Not sure. But it is a full pad that you do get. So there's some great patterns in there. You also get some chipboard stickers, and these are dimensional. You get some sparkly, glitterish sentiments, some awesome enamel dots, and you get a lot of them. You also are going to get, while I try to find, there we go, some sentiments and other 3D or dimensional items, cupcakes, some ornaments, a poinsettia, and so forth. You also get a pack of like journaling cards. So they could be used in your planners, they could be used in your junk journals, they could be used on your calendars, however you would want to use them. But you can also use these for cards as well. So this is what they look like. They are double-sided, and a couple of them were actually envelopes where you would be able to fold in the side. You get some red and white twine, baker's twine. You get, of course, your double-sided foam stickers. You get a full roll of some glitter washi, and this is nice and strong. This is not like normal washi. So it's very thick and very strong. It's kind of awesome to work with. You get your card bases that are already cut and scored, and they are side folding, and they are standard A2 size. So that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but they are a side folding. And of course you get the envelopes that go with them. You get this huge, it's a huge pile of die cut pieces, and there are some beautiful images in here, and they range. Some of them are ornaments, some of them are poinsettias, some of them are sentiments, some of them are animals. There's just so much to choose from in there. You can make plenty of cards with this kit. A beautiful stamp set, so it's an ornament with a beautiful font for sentiments. May all your Christmas wishes come true. 'Tis the season to sparkle. And then also those other pieces, the other stamps actually can go inside that ornament. And as always, we get a die set with your kit. And there are 19 dies total in this set. There are 2 sentiment dies, and they actually will say Season's Greetings. You also get some shapes. You have some triangles, you have some flowers in different sizes, so that you can make some petals. You get a couple leaves in some different sizes. And what this also creates is that beautiful deer. That's why it's Dear, as I'm putting my fingers in quotes, Dear Santa. Get it? Okay. Anyway, and of course you also get your 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. So you've got a black, a light blue, a white, a beautiful mirror gold, a red, a brown, and a green. So those are all the items. So let's get started. Now I have to admit, get excited, there's actually 7 cards in this video, not just 5. I got carried away, I kept on going. This was a really fun kit to create cards with, and you can create more than the 10 bases that they give you, trust me. So I grabbed a piece of the paper from the paper pad that comes in the kit, and I just cut that down to a scant 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Used the double-sided tape to adhere that to my card base. I'm pulled in my vintage photo just to go around this journaling card. And I'm going to use my double-sided tape to adhere that down onto my panel. Before I do that, I want to play with the placement because I wanted to pull in some of the glitter washi tape. And again, it is really strong. So this is not something where you can lightly put it down and if you change your mind, you can take it back up. Nope. Ask me how I know. So once I have that stripped down, I think it's a great accent piece. I'm going to set my journal card down onto it. I love the Ho Ho Home for the holidays in candy canes. So I did pull some of the candy canes from the die cuts, from the die cut pack. And I'm just going around them as well with my vintage photo. Just to, make them stand out. Again, I know with vintage photo, we're kind of bringing down the brightness of the colors. But it also helps to make them stand out at the same time. So I'm going to be using 2 of them, and I'm going to take one of the foam squares and cut it in half, just so I can put a small piece behind each of the candy canes. This way, they'll be propped up just a little bit. You know how I like my dimension. And we're just going to make sure that it's just on the one side, because I do want them to go up underneath the panel. So I don't want the whole candy cane to be propped up. Pulled out the enamel dots, and you do get a lot. And what's nice is you get some red, white, a light green, a mid green, and like a light blue kind of color. And I'm just grabbing some of them and placing them, just a few here and there along the card. So I wanted to do something on the inside, and that's because I had a spare candy cane. I had pulled it out, I put vintage photo around it. So I'm going to use the double-sided tape, and I'm just going to adhere that to the bottom right-hand corner inside my card base. And once that's done, that is our first card. So for our second card, very simple. Again, I grabbed a piece of the pattern paper, and I'm going to use the double-sided tape to adhere it onto. I used the black cardstock, and I cut a piece from that. Again, a scant 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to place this piece of pattern paper right on top. Now that was cut 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to place this layered panel right onto my standard A2 size card base as well. I will say that double-sided tape is very strong. And you get a lot, because that is what I used for the most part throughout the kit. I grabbed another one of the journaling cards, and I loved the sentiment, big festive hugs. Yes, I'm putting the twine into a knot because it's just what I do. I'm going to wrap this around the card, and I'm going to tie a bow. I'm not going to let you go through any pain with that. But there's the bow. It's a bow's nemesis here. They are my nemesis. It's amazing. I'm going to use the double-sided tape, and again, I'm going to put that right onto the layered panel that we've started to create. And I'm just going to center that. Okay, maybe it's going to be up a little bit, because you all know I don't like things perfectly centered. I had grabbed that banner, and I was thinking about adding that to the bottom because it says festive. I chose against it. It just didn't look right to me. Not a problem. I'm just going to set it aside. I'm going to take these 3 die cut images that I pulled out. Got some hot cocoa or coffee, and I've got a couple sweet treats, and I'm just going to put those on the inside down in the right-hand corner as well. And again, just to decorate the inside of the card, I may not do that all the time, but I am finding I'm doing it more and more and enjoying it. So that's the inside of that. Now, what I also wanted to add was one of these very delicate glitter sentiments, and it says warm wishes. And along with that sentiment comes with some stars. So I'm going to place those along the outside as well, along with the other stars. So I have these copper and white stars going along the panel. So just to give it a little bit of glitter, shimmer, and all of that fun stuff. Of course, I had to pull in some more enamel, so I wanted some of the bigger white stars that just went off the panel that I used, the journaling card, just to make it look, again, give it some movement. So for our third card, again, I cut one of the pieces of the pattern paper, and I also cut a piece of the gold mirror cardstock. Now, one of the things that I do love about the gold mirror cardstock from Spellbinders is the fact that it's double-sided. I love that when it comes to their mirror cardstock. So I cut the gold, again, a scant 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then the paper that I used, the pattern paper, that was cut to 4 and 5 1/4. Again, I'm using the double-sided tape to set that down onto my card base. And then I'm using the die cut of the snow globe. I thought this was really cute. And then they had some stars and some other snowflakes, and the snowflakes matched the background that was in the snow globe. So I thought I could have that color continue off onto the card. I did use my vintage photo just to go around my images, just to give them some shading. And I'm just going to set my pieces in place. The snow globe already has a sentiment on it, and that says Merry Christmas. And I'm just using some of the foam squares on the larger pieces of stars and snowflakes on my card. Again, just to give it some dimension, because I love me some dimension. And I'm just going to set those around. I even use the double-sided tape for these smaller stars. So pretty much everything does come in the kit so that you can start creating. You don't have to have massive amounts of supplies, which I find awesome. I think it's absolutely fabulous. Sometimes we want to create cards, but sometimes we don't want to mortgage our homes for everything that's out there, everything that we want to do. So really, from this kit, you just need a stamp pad and maybe an acrylic block so that you can use the stamps. So again, cut a panel out of the solid cardstock to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then my pattern paper, the solid cardstock, my bad, was the scant 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then my pattern paper was cut to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. Sorry about that. And I really wanted to play around with these dimensional stickers. I thought they were so cute and so pretty. So I'm going to take my layered panel and I'm going to set that down onto my card base. So this is going to be a landscape card. So it's going to actually, instead of being a side folding, it's going to turn into a top folding card. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to use the Merry because I just love the way that looked. So I'm just going to set it in place. I'm not going to press down to make it permanently adhere. So gingerly I'm placing it down, and then I'm going to pull in these 2 nice size ornaments, and I'm going to make sure the holes are punched out, and I'm going to pull in some twine. So I'm going to thread that through the top of the ornaments, and then I'm just going to make sure that the tail of the baker's twine is just adhered to the back of the ornaments, and I'm going to trim up in behind the sentiment so that the ornaments look like they're hanging from that sentiment, because that has Christmas lights. So once that's all in place, I'm going to press down firmly and set them in. So very simple. Just needed to add that. I'm going to use some of the stars that come from these dimensional stickers. And I just chose the blue and the lime green and the red. And I'm just looking to see if I can add any more. And then I'm going to pull in some of the enamel dots because I'm absolutely loving the enamel dots. And I'm going to use the greens just to have that darker shade there as well. So already on to card number 5. You can see how quick we're going. Again, I'm going to set my panel in place. I cut my piece of pattern paper to be, I believe, a scant 4, yes, a scant 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, or excuse me, nope, I cut that to be 4 by 5 1/2. Or 4 1/4, 5 1/4. Oh my goodness! And then I love these banners. They are all just great sayings, quick sentiments. But I loved the one that said, "Have you been nice?" Because you know it's a concept, but it's fun to be naughty and nice. It's okay. We can do that. So I set that up onto my panel already. I'm going to go around. And I set in place some double-sided foam squares, and I'm going to go around my image with some of my vintage photo just so that that'll stand out. And I'm going to intertwine that into the banner, and I'm going to remove that one double-sided foam square, and I'm going to set that. I'm going to pull in some of the white enamel dots just to accent the snowflakes. That was card number 5. So for card number 6, yes, we have to play with the die because I am in love with this die. So I cut a piece from the white cardstock that came in the kit, and this is cut 4 by 5 1/4. And then I cut my pieces. Again, I used the cardstock from the kit, and I just went around the brown pieces with my vintage photo just to give it some shading. And now I'm going to set my pieces in place. So the first piece is the top of the nose. So you want to set that down first. And then the next part that goes in is the top of the deer. And that's going to go down a little bit onto the nose. So that's going to go up into the eye area. You have all of the dies for the nose. You have different eye sets, so you can make a girl reindeer. You can make a boy reindeer. You can make a winking reindeer. So there's all kinds. I wanted to give my reindeer eyelashes, even though we have antlers. It's okay. I think it's still cute when it comes to that. So I set the nose in place at the base of the piece that's for the bridge of the nose. I'm now going to set the antlers in place. Now for this, I did choose to use my liquid glue from my stash because these are very tiny pieces, and I could only imagine if I tried to use the double-sided tape. It would not have been pretty. It would have been interesting and comical, but it just wouldn't have been pretty. You can see I also did cut the sentiment, Season's Greetings. So that's ready to go. I'm going to give my reindeer some pink cheeks, and you have the die for that as well. And then I'm going to set the eyelashes. So I'm just going to put some glue down onto my card base. And the pencil that I'm using here is called a wax pencil. They actually use it in nail art. And that's what I used when I pick up my gems or sequins or small pieces of cardstock like this. And I'm just in love with that face. I think it is absolutely beautiful. Again, I get it, antlers, but I just think it's cute. Remember, it's our card. We can have fun with it. So I set my seasons in place, and then I'm going to set down my greetings. And what's nice is the heart for the eye in the greetings is attached. So there was no chance for me to lose that. Although I did notice that I forgot to remove a piece. So I just used my tool-in-one to pop that out. And I'm going to set that down onto my panel as well. I just think it is really cute. I'm going to go around the edge with some vintage photo just to frame it a little bit. Make that stand out since I used a white base onto my white card base. And I'm going to remove the adhesive backing. And I'm going to set that down onto my card base. And I just think she is really cute. So finally, for our last, I'm going to play with the stamp set. And this was a beautiful stamp set. The fonts, I am in love with the font for the stamp set. I think they are absolutely beautiful. So I cut down a piece of pattern paper to a scant 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm using the washi tape again, and I cut a piece from the white cardstock. And this panel's about, I'm going to say, I don't have the size here. I believe it's 3 by 4. And I'm just putting the washi tape around the outer side. So it's going to give it like a frame. And I'm going to set that down right onto my pattern paper. And then I'm going to set that onto my card base. So this piece here is a piece of watercolor paper because I wanted to do some watercoloring. So we've got a lot of stamping going on here because after I stamp, when I use my VersaFine ink, I want to heat emboss it with my clear embossing powder. So I've set my images up into my stamp positioner, and these images stamp beautifully, absolutely beautifully. So I'm just going to coat this with my clear embossing powder, and I'm going to heat set that. When I watercolor, I just want to have that barrier. You don't have to do embossing. You can just use the black, and you can use VersaFine if you watercolor. I just wasn't sure if I was going to be able to stay within the lines. So I grabbed the bow for the top of the ornament, and then I grabbed the star, the 3D star to go into the center. This really reminded me of those old-fashioned glass ornaments when they looked like this, and they were cut out, they like sunk into the ornament. I don't know if I'm explaining this right. I'm sure somebody knows what they were called. But my grandmother, I actually have all of hers, and that's what they looked like. So this just reminded me of those ornaments. I pulled out just one of my watercolor sets. This is by Faber-Castell. It's one of the student grades. It's a great beginner set. Got it from my local craft shop. And I'm just dropping some colors in. So I laid down some water first. I'm dropping in some of the lighter shade into the one corner, and I'm darkening it as I just continue to drop the colors. I want my watercolor to move on its own, so I usually just drop it into the water. And then with this shade, I'm going to add some of the I think there was a coral color, yes, an orange color, and I'm mixing that with the yellow just to lighten it up. But when it mixes with this shade, and it's actually a red, it's the cool red, it's actually going to make like a coral color. So I have this hint of orange that's going to come in on the other side of that ornament. Once it was dry, and I made sure it dried, I did not use my heat tool. I'm going to prop this right on top of that panel with the gold washi tape. So by using the washi tape, I was able to create a glitter panel. You know, we have our glitter cardstock, but I'm able to create that here with this kit just by using the washi tape. I wanted to add some more gold dots to this, but I didn't have any gold in the enamel, so I used one of the dies that could make an eye for the deer, and I just cut that out 3 times from the gold cardstock. So I use those as embellishments. As always, here are the close-ups in a regular speed time of all the cards that we made today. As you can see, I really had fun with this kit. I just kept on going, and then I finally realized, oh my, I want to play with the stamp set. I want to play with the die set. I was having a lot of fun with all of the die cuts, the dimensional stickers, the sentiment stickers, and everything that came in this kit. So you can see you're going to be able to make so many cards. It is available. The link for this kit, if you want to subscribe, will be down below. Even if you don't purchase, just take the time to check it out. They have some wonderful kits there, and many new items are coming out as well. So keep an eye on Spellbinders. They're doing some wonderful things. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. There's going to be so many more videos coming out with so many different techniques and other ways that you too can and will make beautiful cards. If you have any questions, leave those down below. I'll make sure I get back to you. And the products that I used, mainly the kit, will be listed down below as well. I hope everyone is having a great day, but always remember what's most important. Always be creative.